Good evening, viewers. In our modern world, we often perceive technology as an extension of ourselves, a tool for control and convenience. But what if that equation were to flip? What if technology itself began to exert control? Tonight, we are diving into a contemporary analog horror narrative, not just a ghost story, but a deep exploration of our latent fears surrounding loss of control and how our own minds can conjure terror from the mundane. Before we begin, let's understand what analog horror truly is. It's a subgenre of horror that leverages the aesthetics of older media formats like VHS tapes, vintage television broadcasts, or distorted audio recordings. Its goal isn't to scare you with jump scares, but to sow seeds of unease and disorientation by distorting the familiar and presenting fragmented and ambiguous information, forcing your mind to fill in the blanks with the most terrifying scenarios. It taps into our fear of the unknown and of communication systems that were once our lifelines. Our story tonight begins with a simple yet deeply unsettling premise. The TV that turned on by itself last night. Imagine you're in a deep sleep, and suddenly, the television in your living room flickers to life. There's no one else in the house, no remote control within reach, yet the screen illuminates, emitting a faint hum, and then begins to display something. Not a regular program, but a distorted, fragmented broadcast, as if coming from a place not on any map. Why is this scenario so profoundly unsettling? Psychologically, this event strikes several sensitive chords. Firstly, there's pareidolia, our brain's tendency to perceive meaningful patterns or faces in random stimuli. When our brain encounters static on a screen, it tries to find meaning and may interpret random shapes as distorted faces or hidden messages, fueling our fear. Secondly, there's the fear of the unknown. The television is a familiar, safe appliance. When it acts unpredictably, it shatters our sense of security and control. This breach of reality evokes an existential dread. If this simple device can act on its own, what about other things we consider within our control? From a scientific perspective, some of these phenomena can be explained. Older televisions, especially those that work with CRT technology, were susceptible to electromagnetic interference, EMI. Strong radio waves, or even other nearby electronic devices, could cause screen distortion or even trigger them to power on unexpectedly. This interference can create random patterns of light and sound. But what makes it truly terrifying is how our brain interprets these signals. In cases of extreme fatigue or anxiety, mild auditory or visual hallucinations can occur. The brain may interpret random sounds as whispers or light patterns as images. When these factors combine with a dark environment and a sense of loneliness, they create fertile ground for horror. Analog horror thrives on these psychological and scientific principles. It doesn't need monsters, it needs ambiguity. The distorted visuals, the garbled audio, the fragmented messages, they all force the viewer's mind to actively participate in the horror. The emergency broadcast format itself is powerful because it implies a critical, urgent message that is being deliberately obscured or corrupted. This plays on our innate desire for information and safety, only to deny it, leaving us vulnerable. The true genius of the TV turned on by itself last night as an analog horror concept lies in its subtlety. It's not about a creature bursting through the screen. It's about the implication of something else, something unseen, manipulating the familiar. It suggests a breach in reality, a violation of our personal space by an unknown entity using our own technology against us. This implied threat The idea that something is watching or communicating through the static is far more terrifying than any explicit monster. It's the horror of the mundane becoming malevolent. So, the next time your old television flickers unexpectedly, or you hear a strange hum in the dead of night, remember the power of analog horror. It's a reminder that our deepest fears often lie not in the supernatural, but in the unsettling disruption of our perceived reality, and the chilling realization that sometimes the most terrifying things are those we cannot fully comprehend, leaving our minds to fill in the horrifying blanks. Thank you for watching. Stay safe and keep your screens off.